Alex Carter stood in what used to be the medical bay of the sanctuary, but the space had been completely transformed. The wreckage had been converted into a sophisticated laboratory filled with equipment that seemed to grow more complex each day. Human ships had been arriving regularly, bringing supplies and personnel that Alex somehow knew he would need before they even contacted him. The network had been active for 2 weeks now, and Alex could feel the collective intelligence of humanity, working through problems that individual minds could never solve. Dr. Elena Martinez had made breakthrough discoveries about Zephyrian biology. Engineer Paul Chen had designed new technologies that seemed almost magical in their effectiveness. Hundreds of other humans were contributing pieces to a plan so complex that no single person could comprehend its full scope. "Dr. Carter, we've completed the analysis of the Zephyrian command structure," reported Dr. Kevin Ross, who had arrived from Titan 3 days earlier. "The network has identified 3 critical points that control their entire empire." Alex nodded, already knowing what Kevin would say before he spoke. The shared intelligence had revealed that the Zephyrian Empire depended on 3 key systems. Their biological weapons facility on Xerion Prime created the terrible diseases they used against civilian populations. Their central command nexus on their homeworld coordinated all military operations across dozens of star systems. Most importantly, their quantum communication array allowed instant communication between their scattered fleets. "What about the hormone research?" Alex asked Elena, who was working at a nearby station. "Incredible discoveries," Elena replied, her eyes bright with excitement. "Zephyrian aggression is controlled by specific brain chemicals that are regulated by electromagnetic fields. Their homeworld has a unique magnetic field that keeps them in a constant state of military readiness. Without it, they become much more peaceful and rational." Alex felt the network processing this information and developing applications faster than any individual could think. The plan that was emerging was audacious beyond anything attempted in galactic history. Instead of fighting the Zephyrians directly, they were going to change the fundamental nature of Zephyrian society. Captain Sarah Kim arrived from Ceres Station with a ship full of specialized equipment. "Dr. Carter, the manufacturing facilities are ready. We can begin production as soon as you give the word." Alex walked to the observation window and looked out at the growing fleet of human ships surrounding the sanctuary's wreckage. There were medical vessels, cargo haulers, research ships, and even some military escorts. All of them had come here, following the guidance of the network, bringing exactly what was needed for the plan to succeed. "Begin production of the pacification compound," Alex ordered. "Dr. Martinez's research shows that we can create a biological agent that will neutralize Zephyrian aggression without harming them. It will make them peaceful, but leave their intelligence and capabilities intact." Lisa Parker, who had been working beside Alex throughout the crisis, looked concerned. "Alex, what you're describing sounds like biological warfare. How is that different from what the Zephyrians are doing to us?" Alex turned to face her, and Lisa could see that his eyes held a depth of understanding that seemed almost inhuman. "The difference is that we're not trying to kill them. We're trying to free them from their own biological programming. The Zephyrians are trapped by their genetics, forced to be aggressive and militaristic. We're going to give them the choice to be something else." The network had revealed that Zephyrian society was not naturally evil. Their aggression was caused by brain chemistry that had evolved on their harsh homeworld. For thousands of years, they had been prisoners of their own biology, unable to choose peace even when they wanted it. The human plan would break those biological chains and allow Zephyrians to decide their own fate. Over the following days, the operation expanded across human space. Engineer Paul Chen had designed devices that could disable the Zephyrian quantum communication network without destroying it. Pilot Joe Stone was coordinating supply runs to position human agents throughout Coalition territory. Communications. Specialist Rachel Adams was breaking more Zephyrian codes and providing real-time intelligence about enemy movements. The most remarkable aspect of the plan was its coordination. Humans across dozens of star systems were working together with perfect timing, as if they were following a script that existed only in their collective unconscious. Supply ships arrived at exactly the right moments. Research teams completed their work precisely when their results were needed. Military personnel moved into position without receiving direct orders, guided only by their connection to the network. Alex had transformed the wreckage of the sanctuary into the command center for an operation that spanned the galaxy. From his position in the debris field where the crisis had begun, he could coordinate the actions of thousands of humans working toward a common goal. The same species that other aliens saw as harmless support personnel was executing a plan of stunning complexity and precision. "Amy, what's the status of our agents in Zephyrian space?" Alex asked. "All teams are in position," Amy replied. "Maintenance. Crews have installed monitoring devices throughout their technology networks. Medical personnel are ready to introduce the pacification compound into their water systems. The timing synchronization is perfect across all 17 target systems." War Commander Vextar was completely unaware of what was happening. His intelligence reports continued to show declining human morale and increasing success for Zephyrian terror tactics. He had ordered attacks on 2 more medical facilities just that morning, expecting to deliver the final blow to human resistance. What Vextar did not know was that human agents had been infiltrating Zephyrian systems for weeks. They came disguised as maintenance workers, medical personnel, and support staff. The same qualities that made other species dismiss humans as harmless also made them invisible to Zephyrian security. Who would suspect the quiet engineer fixing a water recycling system or the human doctor treating wounded prisoners? "Dr. Carter, all systems are ready," reported Captain Dan Wright from the New Hope. "Every team is standing by for your signal." Alex felt the weight of what was about to happen. In the next few hours, they would either save the galaxy or destroy any hope of peace between species. The plan required perfect execution across multiple star systems, with timing measured in minutes rather than hours. "Amy, send the activation signal to all teams. Begin Phase 3 immediately." Across Zephyrian space, humans began implementing the most audacious plan in galactic history. Water systems were quietly treated with the pacification compound. Communication. Networks were disabled with surgical precision. Biological weapons facilities were sabotaged so carefully that they appeared to malfunction naturally. The fate of the galaxy now rested in the hands of the species everyone had underestimated. Humans were about to show the Zephyrians what true power looked like. Dr. Elena Martinez had not slept in 4 days, but she felt more awake than ever before in her life. She sat in her laboratory on Luna Station, surrounded by screens showing Zephyrian biological data that she was analyzing at impossible speed. Her fingers moved across the keyboard faster than she thought possible, connecting patterns that would have taken her months to discover before. The news about the attack on the sanctuary had reached her 2 days ago. Since then, something had changed inside her mind. She could see relationships between genetic sequences that had been invisible before. She understood how Zephyrian biology worked in ways that went far beyond her normal expertise. Most importantly, she felt connected to something larger than herself. On Mars, engineer Paul Chan was experiencing the same transformation. He had been working in his garage when the first reports of the hospital ship attack came through the news feeds. Immediately, his mind had filled with designs for weapons and defense systems that he had never studied, but somehow understood perfectly. His hands moved without conscious direction, sketching blueprints for technology that should have been impossible to create. Paul's wife, Kate, watched him work with growing concern. "You haven't eaten anything in 18 hours, she said, bringing him a sandwich. "This isn't normal, Paul." "I know it's not normal," Paul replied without looking up from his work. "But it's necessary. Something is happening out there and humans need to be ready for it." Across the galaxy, similar scenes were playing out in human homes, laboratories, and workplaces. Communications specialist Rachel Adams on Europa was breaking Zephyrian military codes that had stumped coalition intelligence for years. Medical researcher Dr. Kevin Ross on Titan was developing treatments for biological weapons he had never encountered. Pilot Susan Clark on the space station Harmony was planning flight patterns for missions that did not yet exist. On the wreckage of the Sanctuary, Alex Carter felt all of these minds connecting to his own. It was not telepathy in the way other species understood it. Instead, it was like having access to a vast library where human knowledge and insights were being shared instantly across impossible distances. Every breakthrough that Elena made on Luna Station became available to him immediately. Every weapon design that Paul created was instantly understood by engineers throughout human space. "Amy, have you established contact with the other affected humans?" Alex asked, as he continued treating wounded survivors. "Yes, Doctor. I have secure connections with over 200 humans who are reporting similar experiences. The number is growing every hour." Lisa Parker looked up from the patient she was treating. "Alex, this is starting to scare me. What's happening to our people?" Alex paused in his work, considering how to explain something that he was only beginning to understand himself. The attack on the Sanctuary triggered something that has been dormant in human genetics for thousands of years. When our species faces an existential threat, we develop the ability to share knowledge and coordinate responses at an unconscious level. "You're talking about some kind of hive mind," Ron Blake said from where he was repairing damaged systems. "Not exactly," Alex replied. "We're still individuals with our own personalities and free will. But we can access a shared pool of human knowledge and capabilities when we need it most. It's like having the combined intelligence of our entire species available to solve problems." As if to demonstrate his point, Alex suddenly stopped working and turned to Amy. "Contact Dr. Elena Martinez on Luna Station. Tell her to focus her research on Zephyrian hormone regulation systems. Specifically, look for connections between their aggressive behavior and electromagnetic field exposure." Amy sent the message, and within minutes they received a reply. Elena had not only understood the request, but had already begun the research, somehow knowing it would be important even before receiving the message. The network was growing stronger with each passing hour. Humans who had never met were working together on complex projects with perfect coordination. Scientists were sharing research data instantly. Engineers were building components for machines they had never seen complete blueprints for, trusting that other humans somewhere else were creating the missing pieces. Captain Dan Wright of the human transport ship New Hope was one of the first to contact Alex directly. "Dr. Carter, I don't understand what's happening to me, but I know I need to bring my ship to your location. I have supplies and personnel that you're going to need." "How do you know what I need?" Alex asked. "I just know. The same way I know That engineer Sarah Kim on Ceres Station is building specialized medical equipment for you. And that pilot Joe Stone is preparing to make supply runs to locations I've never heard of before." Alex smiled for the first time since the attack. The network was not just sharing knowledge, it was organizing human resources across the galaxy to support whatever plan was emerging from their collective intelligence. He did not need to coordinate these efforts consciously. The network was doing it automatically, like an immune system responding to a threat. Meanwhile, the Zephyrian Empire was continuing its campaign of terror. War Commander Vextar had ordered attacks on 2 more medical facilities, expecting each assault to weaken human resolve. His intelligence report suggested that humans were becoming increasingly demoralized and that coalition medical support was beginning to collapse. What Vextar did not know was that each attack was actually strengthening the human network. Every act of violence against medical personnel added more humans to the growing collective intelligence. Fear and anger were being transformed into focus and determination on a species-wide scale. Alex could feel the network analyzing the Zephyrian strategy in real time. Thousands of human minds were processing intelligence data, predicting enemy movements, and developing countermeasures. The same species that other aliens saw as weak and harmless was becoming something unprecedented in galactic history. "Amy, send a message to all humans in the network. Tell them to prepare for Phase 2 of our response. Everyone should know what that means." Amy looked confused. "Doctor, I don't know what Phase 2 means." Alex paused, realizing that his consciousness was operating on levels that even he did not fully understand. "Trust me, they'll know. The network will tell them." Within hours, humans across the galaxy began receiving the message and immediately understood what they needed to do. Supply ships changed course toward strategic positions. Research teams shifted their focus to specific projects. Military personnel began implementing plans they had never seen written down but somehow knew perfectly. The Zephyrians had attacked a human hospital ship, believing it would demonstrate their power and break human morale. Instead, they had triggered the emergence of something that would change the fate of the galaxy. They had awakened a sleeping giant, and that giant was about to show them what humans were truly capable of when they worked together. The network was complete, and the real response was about to begin. Admiral Kate Sullivan walked into the Galactic Confederation Council chambers with her head held high. Behind her followed Captain Amy Price, Colonel Beth Martinez, and Dr. Jennifer Ross. The massive room was filled with representatives from thousands of species, all watching the humans with expressions that ranged from curiosity to fear. Supreme Chancellor Vorthak of the Hegemony sat at the center of the council. His massive form resembled a cross between a squid and a tree, with tentacles that moved nervously as Kate approached the speaking platform. "Admiral Sullivan," Vorthak said in his deep, rumbling voice, "you have requested this emergency session to discuss humanity's military restrictions. We are listening." Kate activated her holographic display, showing the assembled aliens the records they had recovered about the Voidwalkers. A murmur of shock and fear rippled through the chamber. "We know the truth about the Voidwalkers," Kate announced. "We know they were exactly like humans in their approach to warfare. And we know what you did to them." Vorthak's tentacles went rigid. Several alien delegates began speaking in worried voices to each other. Kate could see panic spreading through the chamber. "You speak of ancient history," Vorthak said carefully. "The Voidwalkers were a dangerous species that threatened galactic peace." "No," Kate replied firmly. They were a species that threatened galactic tradition. There's a difference. Amy stepped forward and activated another display showing current battle footage from the HFY War. The Confederation has been fighting the HFY Consortium for 6 months now. Thousands of innocent aliens are dying every week. Human military analysis shows this war could be ended in days, not months. Colonel Martinez joined them at the platform. We've prepared tactical solutions for the HFY conflict, simple strategies that would save lives and resources while achieving complete victory. The alien delegates began talking louder, their voices filled with alarm. Kate could see that many of them were genuinely afraid of what the humans might say next. "Silence," Vorthak commanded. The chamber went quiet. "Admiral Sullivan, you are treading in dangerous territory. The restrictions on human military participation are for the good of the galaxy." "Who's good?" Kate asked. "The good of the species dying in wars that could be prevented, or the good of those who profit from keeping conflicts long and predictable?" Dr. Ross activated her display, showing the patterns of galactic warfare over millions of years. "We've analyzed 10,000 years of Confederation conflicts. Wars last an average of 47 years. They end with negotiated settlements that restore the balance of power. Nothing ever really changes." "And that is how it should be," declared Ambassador Yelton of the Collective. "War maintains order. It allows species to prove their worth and settle disputes without destroying civilization." Kate felt anger building in her chest. "War isn't supposed to maintain anything. It's supposed to solve problems. When humans fight, we fight to fix what's wrong, not to play games." "Exactly," Vorthak's voice boomed through the chamber. "That is why you are dangerous. You treat warfare as a tool for change rather than a ritual for stability." The truth was finally in the open. Kate looked around the chamber at thousands of alien faces, seeing the fear in their eyes. They weren't afraid of human aggression or violence. They were afraid of human effectiveness. "You're terrified that we'll make your way of life obsolete," Kate said quietly. "Just like the Void Walkers did." Vorthak was silent for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was heavy with ancient sadness. "The Void Walkers destroyed the balance that had maintained galactic peace for millions of years. In less than a century, they changed warfare so completely that our entire civilization was at risk. At risk of becoming better," Amy pointed out. "At risk of losing everything that made us who we were," Vorthak replied. "Honor, tradition. The careful balance of power that prevented any one species from dominating all others. The Void Walkers would have ended all of that." Kate understood now. The galaxy wasn't just afraid of human military ability. They were afraid of human problem solving. Afraid that humans would fix things that the aliens preferred to leave broken. "So you killed them all," Kate said. "We preserved our way of life," Vorthak replied without shame. The chamber erupted in voices as delegates began arguing among themselves. Some seemed to agree with Vorthak, while others looked uncomfortable with his admission. Suddenly, alarms began blaring throughout the chamber. Emergency lights flashed as a Confederation military officer rushed to Vorthak's side. "Supreme Chancellor," the officer said breathlessly, "the HFY Consortium has launched a massive attack on Earth itself. They say they're eliminating the human threat before it can spread." Kate felt her blood turn to ice. "What?" The officer activated a communication display showing space around Earth. HFY ships were attacking human colonies and orbital stations. The message was clear. If the galaxy wouldn't eliminate humanity like they had the Void Walkers, the HFY would do it themselves. "They're broadcasting a message," the officer continued. They say that humans are too dangerous to be allowed to survive, that the galaxy must choose between human thinking and galactic stability. Kate turned to Vorthak. This is your fault. Your fear of progress has turned the Velox into exterminators. Admiral Sullivan, Vorthak said urgently, you must order your forces to retreat. Let the Confederation handle this. Like you've been handling the war for the past 6 months? Kate's voice was filled with anger. My people are dying, and you want us to run away? If humanity fights back with full military capability, you will prove that the Velox are right about you being dangerous. Kate looked at the display showing Earth under attack. She thought about the billions of humans who had never asked to be part of galactic politics. She thought about human children who dreamed of exploring the stars, not fighting for their survival. Beth, Kate said quietly, send the order to all human fleets. We defend ourselves with everything we have. Admiral, if we do that, Amy began. If we do that, we show the galaxy exactly what they've been afraid of, Kate finished. But we also save our species. The battle for Earth lasted 3 days. Human fleets, commanded by officers who had spent years studying alien warfare, demonstrated exactly why humanity had been banned from galactic conflicts. They used coordinated multi-vector attacks, adaptive tactics, and psychological warfare to completely dismantle the Velox invasion force. The galaxy watched in amazement and terror as humans didn't just defeat the Velox, they captured their command. Ships disrupted their supply networks, and forced the surrender of the entire consortium in less than 72 hours. When it was over, Kate stood before the Confederation Council again. This time the chamber was silent. You wanted to know why we're banned from your wars, Kate said. Now you know. It's not because we're too violent or too aggressive. It's because we're too good at ending them. Vorthak's tentacles drooped with resignation. What do you want from us, Admiral? Kate thought about the Void Walkers, about the choice the galaxy had made 50,000 years ago. She thought about humanity's future and the price of being too effective at solving problems. We want a new role, Kate said finally. Not as warriors, but as peacekeepers. When your ritualistic wars threaten innocent lives, you call us. We end the conflicts quickly and help everyone rebuild. And if we refuse? Kate gestured to the displays still showing the wreckage of the Velox fleet. Then you'll keep having wars that last decades instead of days, and eventually someone else will figure out what we know about ending them. The vote was close, but the Confederation Council agreed. Humanity would become the galaxy's emergency peacekeepers, called upon only when conflicts threatened to spiral beyond control. Years later, Kate stood in the graduation ceremony for the first class of the Galactic Peacekeeping Academy. Young humans from across Earth's colonies were learning not how to wage war, but how to prevent it. The irony wasn't lost on her. Humans had been banned from galactic war, not because they were too weak to participate, but because they were too strong at ending it. And now that strength would be used to protect the very civilization that had once feared them. Admiral Jake Morrison, now director of the Academy, joined Kate as they watched the new graduates. "Do you think we made the right choice?" he asked. Kate looked up at the stars, thinking about the Void Walkers and the price they had paid for being too good at solving problems. "We're still alive, Jake, and we're still making the galaxy a better place. Sometimes that's the best victory you can hope for." Captain Amy Price stood on the bridge of the UES Discovery, looking at the most dangerous place in the galaxy. The galactic core was a swirling mass of stars, black holes, and ancient mysteries that most species avoided. But somewhere in that chaos was the eternal archive, and Amy needed answers. "Captain, we're receiving a signal from the archive," reported Lieutenant Tony Silva from the communications station. "They're granting us permission to approach." Amy had spent 3 months convincing the Nexari, the ancient keepers of galactic history, to meet with her. The Nexari were older than most civilizations and claimed to have observed the galaxy for millions of years. If anyone knew the complete truth about the Void Walkers, it would be them. Major Chris Davidson, Amy's tactical officer, looked nervous as their ship moved toward the archive. "Captain, are you sure about this? If the Confederation finds out, we're investigating the Void Walker records." "They won't find out," Amy said. "The Nexari space is neutral territory. Even the Confederation respects their independence." Dr. Jennifer Ross, who had joined the mission after her discoveries on Luna Base, was working at a computer station nearby. "The quantum signatures are incredible," she said. "The archive is older than human civilization by millions of years. The eternal archive looked like a giant crystal floating in space, surrounded by rings of smaller structures. As the discovery approached, Amy could see that the crystal was covered in patterns that seemed to shift and change as she watched. "Incoming transmission," Tony reported. "They want to beam someone aboard." "Let them," Amy said. A column of light appeared on the bridge, and when it faded, an alien unlike any Amy had ever seen stood before them. The Nexari looked like a tree made of silver and light, with branches that moved like arms and leaves that sparkled like stars. "Greetings, humans," the Nexari said in a voice that sounded like wind through metal. "I am Quindal, keeper of ancient records. You seek knowledge of the Void Walkers." "Yes," Amy said. "We've discovered fragments of their history, but we need to understand what really happened to them." Quindal's branches swayed slowly. "Knowledge of the Void Walkers is dangerous, Captain Price. Are you certain you wish to know the truth?" "We have to know. Human lives may depend on it." Quindal was silent for a long moment, then nodded. "Very well. Follow me." The Nexari transported Amy, Chris, and Jennifer to the archive. Inside, the walls were covered with flowing patterns of light that contained the memories of the galaxy. Quindal led them to a section that pulsed with dark energy. "Here lie the records of the Void Walkers," Quindal said, "and here lies the reason your species terrifies the Confederation." The Keeper touched the wall and images began flowing around them. Amy watched as the story of the Void Walkers unfolded in three-dimensional holograms. "The Void Walkers were much like your species," Quindal explained. "They evolved on a world where survival meant constant warfare against dangerous predators and harsh environments. Like humans, they learned to fight not for honor or glory, but for survival itself." The images showed Void Walker society. They looked similar to humans in some ways, but taller and thinner, with larger eyes adapted for low light. Their cities were practical rather than beautiful, designed for efficiency and protection. When the Confederation first contacted them, the Void Walkers were peaceful, Quindal continued. They had ended warfare on their own world through superior tactics and strategy. They believed that conflict was a problem to be solved, not a way of life to be celebrated. Chris leaned forward. "That sounds exactly like human military philosophy." Indeed, the Confederation welcomed the Void Walkers and imposed the same restrictions they have placed on humanity. For many years, this arrangement worked well, The images changed to show a great war between two ancient galactic powers. Ships filled with different alien species fought massive battles that lasted for months. Then came the War of the Twin Suns, Quindal said. Two of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations began fighting over control of a star system rich in rare minerals. The war dragged on for decades, with neither side able to gain a decisive advantage. Jennifer watched as the battle scenes played out. The fighting looks just like what we observed with the Velox Consortium. Ritualistic, predictable, inefficient. Correct. Galactic warfare had evolved into a form of controlled competition. Species would fight until one side accumulated enough victories to claim superiority, then peace negotiations would begin. It was violent, but it maintained balance. The images showed desperate alien commanders calling for help. Both sides in the War of the Twin Suns began suffering terrible losses. In desperation, they violated galactic law and recruited the Voidwalkers as mercenaries. Amy felt her stomach tighten. What happened? The Voidwalkers ended the war in less than 2 years. The holographic display showed Voidwalker ships moving in ways that seemed impossible. Instead of lining up for honorable battle, they attacked from multiple directions at once. Instead of targeting enemy warships, they destroyed supply lines and communication networks. Instead of fighting pitched battles, they used hit-and-run tactics that left their enemies confused and demoralized. The Voidwalkers introduced concepts that were alien to galactic civilization, Quindal explained. Psychological warfare, total war doctrine, the complete destruction of an enemy's ability to fight. Chris watched in amazement as Voidwalker forces dismantled enemy fleets with surgical precision. They didn't just win battles, they made it impossible for their enemies to continue fighting. Exactly. And when their enemies surrendered, the Voidwalkers did something that shocked the galaxy even more. What? Amy asked. They offered generous peace terms. They helped rebuild what they had destroyed. They treated their defeated enemies as equals rather than subjects. Quindal's branches rustled with what might have been sadness. The Voidwalkers believed that the purpose of war was to solve problems, not to humiliate or control others. The images showed Voidwalker engineers working alongside former enemies to rebuild damaged worlds. Amy could see the fear in the eyes of other galactic species as they watched this display of efficiency and mercy. The rest of the galaxy realized that the Voidwalkers had made traditional warfare obsolete, Quindal continued. If conflicts could be resolved in months rather than decades, if wars could end with reconciliation rather than resentment, then the entire structure of galactic civilization would change. Jennifer understood immediately. The other species had built their cultures around the old way of fighting. Honor codes, military traditions, the balance of power maintained through controlled conflict. The Voidwalkers threatened all of that. Yes. They feared that Voidwalker thinking would spread to other species, that the galaxy would abandon millions of years of tradition in favor of efficient problem-solving. The images turned dark as Quindal showed the formation of the Great Coalition. Every species in the galaxy, including former enemies, united for a single purpose. They decided to eliminate the threat, Amy said quietly. The Voidwalkers never saw it coming. They had no reason to expect that helping to end a war would make them enemies of the entire galaxy. Quindal's voice became heavy with ancient sorrow. The coalition attacked without warning, using overwhelming numbers to compensate for their tactical inferiority. The final images showed the destruction of Voidwalker worlds. Cities that had stood for thousands of years were reduced to ash. Ships that had revolutionized warfare were hunted down and destroyed. An entire species was erased from existence. The official records claim the Void Walkers became aggressive and had to be stopped, Quindal said. But we Nexari remember the truth. They were eliminated not for what they did, but for what they represented. Amy felt cold understanding wash over her. And now, humans represent the same thing. Your species exhibits identical thinking patterns to the Voidwalkers. Your military observers have made suggestions that terrify Confederation commanders. Your very presence in galactic society is a reminder of what the galaxy lost when it chose tradition over progress. Chris looked at the images of destroyed Voidwalker worlds. Is that why we're banned from warfare? To prevent us from following the same path? The ban serves two purposes, Quindal replied. It prevents humans from demonstrating the same tactical superiority that doomed the Voidwalkers, and it prevents the galaxy from being forced to confront the fact that there might be a better way to resolve conflicts. Amy stared at the ancient records surrounding them. What happens if humans continue to push for military involvement? Quindal's branches went still. Then history may repeat itself, Captain Price, and the galaxy may once again choose to preserve its way of life by eliminating those who threaten to improve it. The explosion tore through the sanctuary's hull like paper. Dr. Alex Carter felt the ship shake violently around him as emergency alarms screamed through the corridors. He had been in the lower medical bay treating a Kratari soldier when the first blast hit. Now sparks flew from damaged electrical panels while the lights flickered on and off. Alex was not like the other doctors on the ship. While his colleagues saw him as quiet and dedicated, they did not know about his past. Before joining the medical corps, Alex had been part of a secret military research program called Prometheus Protocol. The project studied what happened to human minds under extreme stress. What they discovered was carefully hidden from the rest of the galaxy. Another explosion rocked the ship. Alex grabbed onto a medical table to keep from falling as debris crashed down around him. Through the chaos, he could hear people screaming and calling for help. The Kratari patient he had been treating was unconscious but still breathing. Alex quickly checked the alien's wounds and applied emergency bandages before moving toward the corridor. The hallway was filled with smoke and broken metal. Emergency lighting cast strange shadows on the walls as Alex made his way toward the main medical bay. He passed several injured crew members and stopped to help each one. As he worked, something strange began happening in his mind. His thoughts were becoming clearer and faster than normal. Alex had experienced this feeling only once before, during the final tests of the Prometheus Protocol. The researchers had discovered that humans possessed a unique ability that activated only during life-threatening situations. When pushed to their absolute limits, human brains could operate at levels that seemed almost supernatural. Logic, creativity, and tactical thinking would merge into something approaching pure intelligence. In the main medical bay, Alex found chaos. Dr. Morrison was trapped under a fallen beam, his leg clearly broken. Dr. Parker was trying to treat multiple patients while blood ran down her face from a head wound. Captain Blake was working frantically to restore power to the critical systems while Lieutenant Foster tried to establish communication with anyone who might help them. "Alex, thank God you're alive," Lisa called out when she saw him. "Jake is hurt badly and we have dozens of casualties. The ship's life support is failing." Alex knelt beside Dr. Morrison and quickly examined his injuries. The older doctor's face was pale with pain, but his eyes were alert. "Alex, you need to take charge of the medical operations. Lisa is hurt worse than she admits, and we need someone thinking clearly." As Alex worked to stabilize Morrison's broken leg, his mind continued to accelerate. He could see patterns in the damage around him, understanding not just what had happened, but why. This was not a random attack. The positioning of the explosions, the timing, the way they had been allowed to approach Kepler 442b without interference. This had been planned. "Ron, can you get communication systems working?" Alex asked the engineer. "I'm trying, but most of our arrays are damaged. I might be able to get short-range communications online in an hour or two." Alex's enhanced thinking allowed him to process multiple problems simultaneously. While treating patients, he was also analyzing the attack patterns and considering their tactical situation. The Prometheus protocol was fully activating now, transforming his consciousness in ways that even he did not completely understand. "Amy, when you get communications working, I need you to contact all human vessels in this sector. Not Coalition Command, just human ships." Amy looked confused. "Why only human ships?" Alex finished treating Morrison and moved to help Lisa with the other casualties. As he worked, he explained what he was beginning to understand. This attack was designed to test human psychological responses. The Zephyrians are studying how we react to atrocities. They want to know if attacking medical ships will break human morale. Lisa stared at him in surprise. "How could you possibly know that?" Alex paused in his work, realizing he was revealing more than he should. But the crisis was too severe for secrets. "I was part of a research program before joining medical. We studied human mental capabilities under extreme stress. What we found was classified, but I think the classification no longer matters." Over the next several hours, Alex organized the survivors and began converting the wreckage of the medical bay into something more functional. His mind was operating at incredible speed now, seeing solutions that would have been invisible to him before. He could predict how damaged systems would fail and prepare alternatives. He could read the emotional states of his colleagues and know exactly what to say to keep them focused. When Ron finally restored communications, Alex immediately began contacting human vessels throughout the sector. What he learned confirmed his worst fears. The attack on the sanctuary was not isolated. Zephyrian forces had struck 3 other medical facilities in the past week. Each attack had been carefully planned to maximize psychological impact on human personnel. But something unexpected was happening. Instead of breaking human morale, the attacks were triggering something else. Alex spoke with Dr. Elena Martinez on Luna Station, who reported that she had been unable to sleep for 3 days, but was making breakthrough discoveries in Zephyrian biology. Engineer Paul Chen on Mars described designing weapon systems he had never seen before, but somehow knew would work perfectly. Alex realized that what was happening to him was not unique. Across human space, people were reporting enhanced mental abilities, strange dreams, and an overwhelming compulsion to contribute to some greater purpose. The Prometheus protocol had not just affected the test subjects in the original program. It was a species-wide adaptation that activated in response to existential threats. "Amy, I need you to establish a secure communication network with all the humans who are experiencing these changes. Use encryption protocols that only human technology can decode." "Alex, what exactly are you planning?" Lisa asked. She had noticed the change in him, the way his eyes seemed to see everything at once, the precision of his movements and words. Alex looked around at the damaged medical bay where his colleagues were working to save lives, despite their terrible circumstances. "The Zephyrians think they understand humans. They see us as weak because we choose to heal instead of harm. They believe that attacking our medical ships will demoralize us and make the coalition surrender. He paused, feeling the full weight of what was happening to his mind and to humans across the galaxy. They have made a serious mistake. They have awakened something in humanity that has been sleeping for generations, something that we ourselves did not fully understand until now. Through the damaged viewports, Alex could see the debris field where the sanctuary now drifted. But he was not seeing it as wreckage anymore. He was seeing it as raw materials for something entirely new. His enhanced mind was already beginning to formulate plans that would span star systems and involve thousands of humans working in perfect coordination. The Zephyrians had attacked a hospital ship to send a message of terror. Instead, they had triggered a response that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. They just did not know it yet.